Up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We're back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become the rock star in your area. And we're talking about rock star phone skills. So we've got the man, Dale Archdekin, is with us today. He is a rock star ISA trainer, former ISA himself, does a whole bunch of stuff, coaching and training and consulting and all around internal and inside sales. So we're going to get into all of that fun stuff. We're going to talk about how to be a rock star on the phone. We'll bring him in a second. First of all, as Greg has in his description, the OG gangsta of the phone, Greg McDaniel, the junior grandmaster himself, in the co-pilot seat. And
What's
distracted.
Up, yes, I am. So I can't find us live on my news feed right now, so I'm trying to figure out what the blank is going on. But I'm super excited, dude. We were having an absolute blast talking off air with Dale and with Gene, and we're laughing our asses off. We're talking about dad bodies, vacationing. Dale's living at the beach, everybody, for the entire summer. So if you want to harass him, please do so. And since Gene was joining the festivities, I had to join in the festivities too. So nobody likes to drink alone. I'm here with you, my friend.
No way. Please tell me I'm not the only one drinking on this show.
Yep.
I'm not.
Scotch.
All right.
You're not doing it, buddy.
I know. You keep telling me. I was at Trader Joe's the other night, and I had a bottle of wine in my hand and got all the way up to the counter and whipped out my debit card, and guess what wasn't in my money clip?
Your credit card?
ID.
You
Which apparently, fortunately, is still an issue with me.
Wow. What's you?
I shaved a little bit too close, so she didn't quite believe I was over 34 or now 35. God damn it. Okay.
Oh, shut up. God.
So, okay. Let's bring in Dale first, and then we'll bring in Gene. I know he's got a tip. We've got some questions to cover. So first of all, Dale, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It's great to be back. I haven't seen you guys in a while.
It has been a while.
I missed your pretty faces.
And we missed yours.
Thanks.
So it's been like 6 months since you came on and shared some things initially, but we're going to focus really zero in on the phone skills today. So guys, just like remind everybody, for those that didn't catch your original episode, like where you are, what you do.
Yeah, so my name is actually Dale Archdekin, just to give that to you, Matt, like the Archdeacon of a church.
Pronouncing it wrong for like 6 months?
But I mean, with a face like that, I'm not going to correct you. So what I do, so I have a company called Smart Inside Sales, right? Mm-hmm. So I coach, train, lead, and help other agents and organizations implement inside sales in their businesses or improve what they're doing already. And I love doing it.
Cool. So you're working with people from scratch and people that already have sales teams and stuff. Is that what you're doing exclusively, or are you still working with the original real estate team where you came out of?
Yeah, so I'm still a member of that team, Global Living, which, for anybody, it's top 5 Keller Williams. But right now I'm focusing pretty solely on building my coaching and training company. And, there's a lot of need out there. Inside sales is still a relatively new concept in real estate, and there's a ton of demand out there. So we're trying to serve that.
Yeah, and there's I want to trade some ideas both on the practical stuff that agents can learn, and I know there's some stuff that me and Greg can learn from you, because we're going through some of the same things, coaching the internal sales team at Prime Seller Leads, who are making the same calls that agents are making, warming up and spinning out and disqualifying leads and then handing over hot leads to the agents, and we're coaching them on how to get better at that. But I'm sure there's some things that we can learn from you, in your experience, that we can take into that. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Funny thing is, I have a couple of clients now. So my clients run the gamut from small teams all the way up to companies, ISA done for you companies, both overseas as well as domestic. It's a hot game right now.
Yeah, it is. All right. So quick question. So lead generating, especially, either we can attack this 2 ways. But Friday evenings, 5 to 7 p.m. What's been your experience, Dale?
So I usually have a beer and I'm on the couch, probably yelling at my kids to be quiet. I'm not sure what. That's usually what I experience between 5 and 7 p.m. on a Friday. I'm like, honey, what are we going to do tonight? Oh, we're going to sit on the couch again because we have kids to watch. That's what we're going to do.
We're going to drink. Because we have to cope with it because of the kids.
Well, Greg, the initial question, this is from Marco Milinovic, sturdy name. So, Greg, the original context was door knocking. So have you gone door knocking on a Friday evenings between that time?
No, I'm drinking beer at that point.
I'm with Dale. I'm with Dale, man. I have a camel pack on, and I have beer in my camel pack. Just walking the lonely streets of Danville, door knocking. Hello, inside. Come out and play. No.
So nobody's lead generating on a Friday evening. That's the consensus. It's just that we don't do it.
No, it probably would be good. It probably really would be good, because you're probably gonna get a lot of people that are probably had a few drinks. They're kicking it. A little bit more lucid and might be more willing to talk, but you could reach the person that had too much to consume and is like, oh, fuck you, get off the porch.
At 5 o'clock,
they can't chase you. They can't chase you. That's good.
Well, that's a crapshoot. If that person is that far gone at Friday at 5 o'clock, there's not much you can do about that. Speaking of day drinking, let's bring in.
The question is, what time did they get started, right?
Yeah, exactly. Gene Volpe, the Volpinator, the evil bald ninja, as Greg lovingly refers to you.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yo, I love the beginning of these things because I just came up with another show idea. So where I am on the East Coast, it's actually 2 o'clock. Greg, can I see yours?
Yes, it's 11:08 here.
It's 11:08. So here's my idea. Keep going all day. It's Friday still. Drink until 5. You go out and do drunk door knocking and film it.
Oh my God!
Actually, I want my reputation to be somewhat professional.
Oh man, that's funny.
I've just come up with a
Put
T-shirt.
a wig on.
I've just come up with a T-shirt for Gene. It's appropriate somewhere, right? Now it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Love that. I love it.
It's appropriate somewhere.
Well, speaking of door knocking and doing it drunk. So, Greg, you and I recorded a video on your craziest door knocking stories. Believe it or not, guys, that's going to be published by Inman News next Friday.
That's fantastic.
So, just thought I'd throw that out there.
So
keep an eye out. Okay, so let's talk. Let's start with Gene, because you've got a handy dandy social media tip that we were talking about before we went on the air that I'd like you to share, and then we'll dive in with Dale on the phone stuff. So give me what do you got?
Yeah, so we were talking about it before we went air, and nobody was overly excited about it. But then as I go through it and think about it in my head, it seems like it's somewhat old news to most people, but yet nobody's doing it effectively, and that would be creating a video for your Facebook banner. So on your business page, it now allows you to upload a video. And, you're always asking me, Matt, how they can find me. Go to facebook.com/Gene Volpe Media, and you'll see exactly what it looks like. So you can create a 20 to 90 second video about you, your business, your podcast, an advertisement, whatever it is. And when people come to your page, it'll play for them automatically. So you can get their message across. You can get your message across to them as they're on your page. So I keep saying this to people, and people are saying, no, I know it's there, but it doesn't seem like anybody's really using it. And it looks like it could be a powerful tool. It can get annoying because it loops, but to capture your attention real quick, it's a good way to do it.
And we're talking about, so it's when you say it's like it's the banner on a Facebook page. So this is different than like being able to shoot a short looping video for your profile picture, right? Because that's been around for a while. Correct.
This is a 20 so when you look at the business page, you got your pretty face to the left in the header box, right? And then across the top is reululive.com. It has your banner.
Okay.
Well, now we can cut up a 20 to 90 second clip of some of your best shows or outtakes and drop it in there. So when people go visit your page, they can see that come up. Or do a commercial.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I could see us putting, two things. Number one, we are redoing our website. So we're building a video that's going to live behind the front page of the site that mostly is just Greg doing his crazy hand motions and all the crazy stuff he does at the start of the show. So I can see doing that because that's just Greg's craziness. But the other thing is that we're gonna come up with, we're hiring a videographer to build us like a real deal trailer for the podcast, almost like a movie style trailer. So that might be, again, something that would go well on that, as long as it was like visual. There's no sound, right, Gene? So you have to like convey it with words and stuff like that, right?
No. So the way it's set up right now is you record. It's actually audio and video, but it comes up automatically with the video off or the audio off.
Right.
So you'll see it, and the idea is that when you see it, you click the microphone or the speaker, and now I can hear what's going on.
Right, but we know from Facebook ads that's dicey.
Well, you know what's weird? It's actually weird that you bring that up because did you notice that they just rechanged the algorithm again? Or not the algorithm, but they changed it so videos are coming up with the audio on in your feed again now. Just happened last week.
No, yes, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
you have to hover on it for a second, and then it'll build. The volume will build slowly.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So the longer
they turned it back on.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know that will go over well, and that seems to get a negative response. So I can see the slow build maybe getting around that, but that's interesting. Okay, so putting that a short video on your banner of your Facebook page.
Yes. Yeah, and listen, I don't think it's something that stays there all the time. You might go back to a standard because I think I just listened to my own voice as I was loading it up there. I don't need to hear it 6 times because once it goes through, I hear it again.
We were thinking it's such a coincidence you mentioned that. We were thinking the same thing about your voice too.
And yet here I am every Friday.
That's
like a bad penny, always showing up.
I know. Well, my wife's grandmother says shit on a shoe. You're like shit on a shoe.
The lovingness in that family abounds.
Yeah, exactly. You're sticky, Gene. You're very, very sticky.
Yeah. And apparently I stink. Apparently.
So actually, Gene, I'm gonna share the tech tip I have. Then we'll get swiftly over to Dale. Guys, I'm gonna share my screen with you really quickly because I want to show you guys something. If I can figure out how to freaking share my damn screen. Oh, big share screen right at the bottom. Okay. Here it goes. So here, take a look here. So here's an email from Matt. And we're going to talk about this product called Senders right up here. So Matt's emailing back with the San Diego Association for us to do more events. But what this is you come down to the bottom of emails and you see this little card. Now, nobody else can see this, right? It disappears after you reply or forward. But essentially, if you click on this, it's going to come to this. And I can know all about Matt. And I can look at, what he's doing on Instagram, search him on Google searches, see what he's up to, figure out, Matt Johnson, that's not you. Okay, horrible example. But this thing is really, really cool. It's like basically it's an caller ID for email. Very cool stuff. And it is free. Go sign up. It's called Senders. I'll put the link in there, guys. But it is really cool. It's a great way to understand who's emailing you. If you got some whack job emailing you all the time, great way to figure out who they are and where to call the police. Gentlemen, it's a great way for you to figure out who you're going to be doing business with. So there you go.
And if anybody's curious, if you get an email from me and you use this newfangled system to look me up, you'll find that not only am I a wedding singer in Florida, but I also played drums for Jeff Buckley in the early 90s.
Yes, and Matt is well deserved of those titles.
That's right. All right, so we got a bunch of people watching. It's taken a little bit longer. For some reason, the Facebook feed guys took a while to ramp up. But we've got a bunch of people watching now, and Rob and Raquel, Dave, Nikki, Glenn, a bunch of people. So, guys, thanks for watching here on Facebook Live. We appreciate it. Let us know in the comments where you're at so that we can keep you in mind for referrals, and the other people that are watching get to know you and can keep you in mind as well. So, Dale, let's get back to you because I spotted a question on the Lead Gen Scripts forum that dovetails perfectly with some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. This is from John Reardon. He's a real estate broker in San Diego. He says, anyone have an ISA that is paid only when a transaction is closed? I'm on a budget and would like to not upfront expenses. How's that working out? And what are you paying them? And of course, this is how, it sounds hypocritical because this is how all real estate teams expand. We hire 100% commission salespeople. So why not hire 100% commission ISA? So what's your opinion on that?
I think it's great. And as soon as he finds that flock of them, I want him to give them my phone number because I've got a lot of jobs for them. Listen, I'm not making light of the decision. Listen, I think it's a fantastic idea. The only time I've ever heard of that happening was when an ISA came in and they started doing their thing. It was a low base pay, right? And they were actually good. And they came to their team leader and they said, look, let's just get rid of this base pay thing because I know I'm going to crush this. And I want you to pay me a higher split when I actually close something. So that's about the only time that I've seen that, right?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Interesting. I actually had a call with a gentleman who came out and shadowed me for doing calls and stuff. He flew up from Texas to spend the day with me. Very humbled, by the way, Richard. Dude, he is going to be flying out here to start working with his family out in the Central Valley in a brokerage out there. But funny we're talking about this. I actually pitched that exact idea to him because Matt and I are getting involved with an organization that has incredibly awesome lead generation system that is unknown, has not been seen by anyone in this industry ever. But I pitched it to him going, hey, dude, do you want to call these leads and we'll give you something on the back end since you're licensed? He's like, yeah, I'm down. I was blown away. Maybe that's a new way of doing things. You never know. Maybe if a higher split, more return. And Matt, I was talking with Andrew. He's looking to do the same damn thing. But I'll talk about that off air with you. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think the trend is going the opposite way though. So Dale, I'm curious your perspective on this. So when I look over the landscape of like teams and broker, small brokerages, indie brokers, and all this other stuff, where I see things going is the opposite. Like all the problems that we have in real estate on recruiting and all this stuff, it's all fruit of the tree of us recruiting 100% commission salespeople. I see more teams expanding and looking to expand on base pay and with bonus structures, and that way it's capped and they kind of know what they're paying these people, but they can attract people from outside of real estate that wouldn't have necessarily thought of real estate as a career. I'm curious what you think about that.
I'm seeing the same thing. I've seen that as a new trend among some top teams that are figuring out that 100% commission game is very difficult, because essentially what you're doing is you're saying, hey, you know what I need? I need an entrepreneur who's going to come in here and they're only going to perform to this level and they're going to do exactly what I tell them to do. Mm-hmm. When is the last time that you found an entrepreneur who was going to come in and get tied down to a desk and do something for somebody else? They're going to do it for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just it doesn't 100%. Happen that often. It's really hard to find that.
That's right. I keep telling Gene what to do, and Gene won't listen to me.
he's
too much of an entrepreneur.
No. He's right. You can't talk to me like that, Matt Johnson.
Exactly. You are not my supervisor. Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. All right. So let's talk about, let's get into the phone skills a little bit here. So Dale, when you train somebody that's relatively new, what are some of the mistakes that they kind of make right out of the gate with phones? Just being on the phone with a real estate lead. Maybe kind of what's the low hanging fruit? What are some of the tweaks that we can make right away that'll have a major impact in how well we close people on the phone?
So let's start with people that actually have sales skills, right?
Okay. Assuming they breathe, they're a human, they can talk to people, and they have some ability to persuade.
Well, actually, I'm going a step further, right? So I'm not starting with the brand newbie who just came from, standing around the floor at Nordstrom and now all of a sudden has to like actually sell you something. I'm talking about the people who've actually sold stuff and talked people into things, right? Okay. So you take them and you put them on the phone. It could be one of your salespeople, one of your agents, or you even find one that's going to be an ISA. A lot of times what these people are going to do is they're going to tell all over somebody, right? And then they're going to close too quickly, right? Mm-hmm. So when I say tell all over them, they're not going to be asking them things, right? They're going to be telling, yakking all over them how great we are. Oh, this is what you should do, right? Here's what we're going to do for you. Here's what we're amazing, and this is why you should meet with me. They're going to be coming back with snappy, quick answers, right? And they're going to close too quickly before they've built any rapport with the person. These are some common things that I see with experienced salespeople.
Yep. Makes sense. And Gene, we like you and I, because we come more from the marketing side, I think we're maybe more naturally tilt towards the relationship sale and building rapport, right? Because we're the ones that we have to then deliver the service on the back end. And so we feel that a little bit more acutely to where when somebody comes into our world and they want to work with us, we're usually like, great, slow down. Right. And let's walk through this process, right? Versus a real estate salesperson that doesn't quite have that same mentality. So I think we have a little bit of a leg up in that particular department.
Definitely.
Gene, you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. And not only that, I need somebody like Dale in my world, because if I could marry that back end that you just talked about with the front end, which is the scripts and the calling, I'd be a force. I can't get the phone thing down, man. That's why I use these slide dials and stuff. I want to meet you and get in your face. Once I'm there, I'm good. But getting there with the phone is tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The funny thing is that I actually did the phones out of necessity. I had to leverage my time instead of door knocking, so I just started doing the phones. And I tripped, stumbled, bruised my knees, got bloodied, got beat up. But then I figured out, my chops and how to do it. And I mean, once you become good at it, it's like anything else. It becomes an art form. But it's just having that willingness to start doing it. I was talking with Lily about that yesterday or today or something. And she was saying, like, she freaking hates doing the calls, right? I'm like, okay, babe, then what do you want to go do? She's like, well, I can go do door knocking. Because I sent her a link that Matt and I are going to do a show on. It's 70 prospecting ways, and it's broken down by your different personality types. So she immediately picked 3 of them that were all high influencers, and they were all being belly to belly. Like Gene was saying, get me belly to belly, and I'm money. Make me talk on the phone. I want to shoot myself in the head. As Midori would call it, Midori calls cold calls soul suckers. And
soul
suckers.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. That's not her gig though. So I mean, it works for some people. It doesn't work for others.
That's right.
You know what I think is funny about that is a lot of people they have such a resistance to being on the phone with people. And you know what, I was thinking about this the other day when I was putting together a presentation around rapport building. Right? What is the difference between being on the phone or being belly to belly with somebody? You know what I think the difference is that you don't have those other key factors, those key indicators. You don't have body language, right? You don't have gestures. You don't have somebody's style to look at, right? So if I'm just on the phone with Gene, right, I don't know if he's a cool, relaxed dude in a t-shirt or if he's a stuffy jerk in a suit and tie, right? I can't see those things. I can't imagine what he is or what he thinks about me, and that makes me uncomfortable. That's one reason. The other reason is because people oftentimes think they have to have something crazy or fantastic to say. And they're so in their head about what should I be saying that they're not just listening to this person and having a conversation with them, which is really what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, when I'm doing my cold calls, I'll take hard lefts and hard rights. I remember one lady that just sticks out. She was in Maine, or came from Maine, right? That's where she grew up. And so I took a hard left. I'm like, oh my God, you guys got the best freaking lobster ever. I was up there and talked about my brother went to school up there, but I brought it back. We bonded over lobster, but as long, like you're saying, Dale, if you can communicate interest in what the other human being is talking about one way or the other and not be so robotic and just listen, your conversation will be amazingly more organic. It'll be more fun. It won't be so pressure oriented because you're like, oh my God, I got to get a deal. I got to get a lead. This is going to happen. Oh my God, Dale's sitting over my shoulder. He's going to fire my ass if I don't. Oh, please, Matt Johnson, be nice to me. And then Matt goes, fuck you. And then I lose my job.
And then you lose your job. That was quite a production.
And then I start podcasting.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that was funny. All right. Well, Gene, I want to give you a graceful way to exit because I know you got to take off and you have at least half a Corona to get to before the day is done. So remind everybody of how they should and can reach out to you and learn more about what you do for agents.
So today, just go to the Facebook page because that's where I put up that quick video for you. Facebook.com/Gene Volpe Media. It's the best way to do it. And I'm not leaving because I have to. I'm leaving because Dale's got this on the lock.
That's right.
That's why I'm leaving.
No, I saw the pool before we got on here. I saw the pool out your window, dude. You're bullshitting. You're going out. You're going to the pool. We know what's going on.
Yeah, we can smell the bullshit from here. We're on the West Coast.
I'm going to make cold calls. I'm cold calling now.
That's right.
After a Corona, everybody, I want you all to pay attention to that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hello, are you ready to be open? So you are you? Well, nice to meet you.
Oh, you said cold call. I thought you meant cold beer. I got it. Well, listen, you guys have a great weekend. It's always a pleasure on Friday. Dale, it was great catching back up with you. Have fun.
You too, buddy. See ya.
Later, Gene.
All right. So one of the things that we've noticed in training the ISA team that we work with is just that, Dale. It's like they're so focused, and I think it stems from like a fundamental discomfort of being on the phone that they overlook the opportunities to build rapport with people, and maybe part of it's just like I don't know, maybe lack of confidence in their own like being quick on their feet. But I've noticed that a lot. Like they miss the opportunities to build rapport with people by taking what we would think of as a hard left or a hard right or whatever. But really, it's just those people are giving you an opportunity to connect. And if you skip over those opportunities to connect and then you try to close, they're not going to be interested.
No, they're not. What I say when people when they're trying to objection handle, another thing sort of in that same vein, right, is I say follow the no.
Okay.
Right. So follow the no. So if you're speaking to somebody on the other line and they're like, oh, well, I have a realtor friend, right, that I'd probably list with. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. Okay. And so when you do sell your home, where are you going to be moving to next? Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, hold on, well, stop. At the end of this conversation, when they say no to you, why will they be saying no to you?
Because you didn't bring value?
Because they have a realtor friend they're going to list with, and you didn't go after that, right?
Right.
You just glossed over it. That was your no. They're just going to give it back to you. You forgot about that. Dial it back. Go to that one. Chase that rabbit down, right?
Okay,
Right.
well, let's role play that out so people actually can see that take place. So, Matt, be your very unsavory self. Dale, be the caller, and let's see how this goes. Scene.
Okay.
All right. So we're just going to make it. We're going to fast forward to this. Hey, Matt. So just wanted to find out if you're interested in putting your home back on the market.
Oh man, I've been thinking about it. My wife's cousin's former dock walker's uncle is he's an agent here in the area, and he's probably who we'd list with if we go with that direction.
Oh, great. Okay, so your uncle's cousin's former dog walker. I might have messed that up a little bit. I'm not sure, but anyway, so that's the agent that you think you'd be using.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, great. Was there a reason that you didn't use him in the first place?
Yeah. Well, my wife's cousin herself is an agent. Now, it turns out she was new, and we weren't crazy about what she did to market the property. But yeah, we did give her a shot first.
Okay, gave her a shot first, and now so you'd like to move over to another person that you know through your channels.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So it seems like it's more comfortable to you to work through people that you already know. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's I don't leave the house much, and it's really important to me to work with someone that I trust. Someone that's in the family. Someone that's in my social network. Yeah.
Got it. So trust is really important to you in an agent. What else is really important to you in an agent?
Well, I guess it comes back to trust, but this is someone that we're opening up my home to, and I mean, it needs to be someone that can navigate the stacks of magazines and newspapers that are very precious to me. And so I really need someone that kind of understands my situation, and enjoys, like taking a look at my superhero action figure collection in between showings and things like that. So yeah, those things are really important to me. Oh, okay.
I'll be hanging up. No. So what I'm doing here is, right, instead of just glossing over that you have somebody or making you wrong for wanting to work with them, right, I'm going to go down you just opened a rabbit hole, which is my no, and I'm going to go into it with you. I'm going to find out what your experience is of that, what you know. I'm going to find out what process you think you're going to follow, which is stick with somebody I know, hire an agent that's family or friend, and then what outcome do you think you're going to get from that, right? Which means I'm going to sell my home and feel good about it. I can trust the people that I work with. I don't have to worry about this agent that I've hired. So I'm going to understand your experience, process, and outcome. And then once we get that out and I'm on the same side of the table with you, I'm going to say, oh, great. Well, what if we used a slightly different process? And I could get you even more, better, faster, cheaper, or easier of whatever this outcome is that you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we do it.
So you just you're consistently chasing the no. So you're actually I hope I'm not getting this wrong. You're looking for that no, that objection. Then you're exploiting that no and just pulling it from the shadows, and you're putting it under the spotlight to really understand what you're looking at. Is that right?
Exactly. And I'm getting them to talk it out because it's similar. That example everybody always gives when you walk into a retail store, the reflex no. Hi, can I help you look for something? Oh, no, I'm just looking. If you try to make that person not say, I'm just looking, because they were thinking about that when they got out of their car, what they were going to say to you when they walked in that store, right?
That's true. Yeah.
They're going to give that to you, whether you want them to or not. Let them do it. Get it out, right? Oh, great. You're just looking. Well, let's talk about that, right? So go ahead.
Welcome to my Chase Lounge. Lay down, get comfy. Let's discuss this.
Exactly. Go ahead, have your nose. Let's talk about them. I'm cool with that.
See, what I like about this conversation, Dale, is that you're doing it 180 degrees of what everyone else talks about. Objection handlers. You're like, fuck handling it. I want to get into it, man. Give me an objection. I want to exploit this.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you right. You're absolutely right. And then let's talk about how that's going to work, right? Oh, so that's what you're going to get from that. Hey, well, what if I can get you more, better, faster, cheaper, easier? Would you look at doing it slightly different? And they're usually like, yeah.
You're exploiting that note like a $2 hooker on half price night. Beautiful. I mean, that
like
is
Friday at 5 p.m.
Friday at 5 p.m.
Oh man. All right. So you're getting into, first you're asking about their experience, then process, then outcome. That's kind of what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, the formula, if you want to objection handle. If I say no to you for some reason, I have some experience or knowledge, right, that I'm basing it on. I have some process in my head as to how I'm going to do something or do it differently than what you want. And I'm driving to a specific outcome. This is with any objection that you get.
Okay.
And so when you want to pull it apart, you got to understand those three pieces. If you just try to argue with them and make them wrong and close around it, they're not going to let go of that because you're a total stranger on the other end of the phone. And the answer is still going to be no.
Yeah, it really will. And I think it helps a lot of people actually get around that objection. Don't ignore it, acknowledge it, attack it. Yeah. And I think I'm thinking about my calls right now. And when I hear that objection, I am the same as every other agent as usual. I'm like, oh, fuck, you're going to use someone else. Okay, bye-bye. But I don't really dive into it with my boots on. I think I'm going to take this after this. Next time I do calls, I'm going to hunt down those no's. I'm going to beg for people to say no to me for one way or the other, and then I'm going to pull it out of the shadows and shine a light on it and really understand it with these questions. I think that's freaking awesome. Absolutely freaking awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, and Rob St. John has a comment here. He says, according to Chris Vossen, never split the difference. You have to have a no for the negotiation to begin. And that's exactly what Chris said on the show, was that a lot of times he would start off a negotiation intentionally asking them a question that would give them almost a prompt to say no so that he could accept it and say, hey, well, that's not what I'm not here to try to change your mind about that. Well, I'm never coming out of this building. You'll never take me alive. Great. Totally understand. Not asking you to come out. Just want to understand what you want. Right. So he'd let them say no. And that really, so even you're going to get no's, and we're so afraid of hearing them because of that, because we don't know how to handle them, but they're going to come up anyway. So why not learn the process to kind of pull them out? Because it's actually better for them. It makes the person that we're calling, or the person that we're in a sales situation with, it seems like that's what makes them comfortable, is the security that they can say no to you, and you're not going to do what every other salesman does and try to convince them that they're wrong.
Exactly. Can I give you another example of exactly how that works and how that can end up with you not getting an appointment?
Okay.
So I was just coaching a very seasoned salesperson yesterday, right? And he said, one of the problems that I have is I keep hearing, like, I'm on the phone with a guy and I want to set the appointment with him, and I keep hearing, I got to talk to my wife about it.
Yeah.
And I can't get around that one, right? They don't call me back. I can't get them on the phone again. Everything's going good. And then I hear, I'm going to talk to my wife about it, right? And I said, the reason that you're hearing that is because this person is afraid that they can't tell you, you're so good and so slick on this phone. You've proven to them that they can't trust themselves to be able to say no to you when you get in front of them. So they don't, that appointment to them is now, I have to decide whether I'm going to let you in my house and just say yes to you.
Wow. And that's really good.
They're hiding from it. They're saying, oh, I got to talk to my wife. Woo-wee. That's the excuse, right? That's the punt.
Man, that's really interesting. So that's, Greg, so do you think you shortcut that naturally by intentionally adding like some of the stumbles and just the way that you come across on the phone, where you're so raw and authentic? Does that kind of prevent that from happening?
I don't know. It might be a symptom of being, like Dale was saying, the guy's so good, so slick, so answer ready, that the guy feels like he just walked into a car lot when he was being approached by a guy wearing a polyester suit. Yeah, but
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if I don't know that it's slick in a negative sense, Dale. It could just be someone that's very skilled at.
It wasn't meant to be negative.
They're a seasoned salesperson. They might just be very good at either natural hypnotic sales techniques, or they might be well versed in NLP. They might just really have their language and scripting down to where it leads people to know, and it gives them that sense that, I'm on a slippery slide, and the next thing my home's going to be on the market.
With this guy, he's quick, right?
Mhm.
Every answer is fast. Every answer is just sort of short and sort of like, quippy, right? Where he's just sort of like, I've done this before. I'm moving you down the same path. It's almost like that guy who says, I got to talk to my wife. He's the fish, and he can see the hook in his mouth, right?
Yeah.
Through this process, and he's like, nah, I see where this is headed, right?
That's interesting.
And so he needs to slow down, have a little more authenticity, and then also, if he told him, when you run into that, right, you need to decrease the barrier of resistance. Okay, this appointment is about you weighing your options. Okay, it's not, the appointment is not about you deciding to list your home.
Yeah, that's very true.
I back that down, take the scariness out of it, right? Get them to say yes to the appointment. Then we pre-qualify and say, great, when I come see you, if you like what I have to say and you trust that I can sell your home, are you planning on listing your home with me? So then we get,
wait. All right, so you start off that way, but then you end off the conversation with a pre-qualification question like that?
Always, always pre-qual. Never go on an appointment without a pre-qual. Absolutely.
Okay, interesting.
But you got to build it.
Because Greg does a 2-stage, and I like the 2-stage listing appointment, although I understand why people don't want to do it because it's time consuming. But for Greg, you're not looking to take 30 listings. You want to take 10 $1 million listings.
Yes.
I don't want to pee in Greg's Cheerios because he is the Mac Daddy.
I own that. Thank you very much.
Feel free to pee in Greg's Cheerios. I think that'd be very entertaining.
No, you heard it from Dale, Matt, on the show. I am a Mac Daddy. Yes.
Whatever. Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
Here is something that I do want. Matt, I'm thinking about your question to me, is that one, Dale, you don't know, but you're a bit slapping me around because I'm like, fuck, I'm not doing this, and I'm not pre-qualifying, and gosh damn it, all this stuff. And I think it's really important to ask that question because you've built a rapport. You can understand what these people's true intentions are when you go out there. But to Matt's point is that the reason why I do the 2-step is I can build the rapport on the phone. That's good. But when I get there, now I'm 100%, with them. I'm body language, communication, eye contact. The whole thing is taking place. All of us that are good at what we do, that's our favorite part about being there, right? But I'm also, looking around their house, looking for something to latch onto, a communication opportunity. And like Derek Evans, who we've had on the show, who's out of San Diego, he said that the people who win the listing appointments, Matt, you're giggling, and I don't know why, it makes me uncomfortable.
I'll tell you, Rob's got a good comment on the Facebook comments.
But the thing is that I want to bring something back to them as a little trinket of my appreciation for their time. So a book on a subject or something along those lines. If I see there's this older Chinese couple that I went out recently to, and I got them off of an outbound cold call, and they had a lot of really like heavy, thick, expensive furniture, like really expensive shit. So I bought a book about legitimate Chinese furniture, and I'm going to bring it to them like, hey, I saw this book, thought you might like it. That's why I do the 2-step, because now I can bond myself to them with
that's interesting.
Nails and concrete and everything else that's really nailed.
Yeah, and you would never do a 2-step listing presentation in in a hyper competitive environment like an expired listing. But you don't do. There's not a lot of expired listings in your market. So
no.
Okay. So Dale, let's dive back into the call. So go into the pre-qualification a little bit. So how do you kind of remove the barrier to resistance and make the appointment seem less like a big deal, but then still finish with a strong pre-qualification that gets them to essentially say, yes, if I like everything you're going to say, I'm going to list with you at that appointment.
So we've reduced the barrier. We've said this is what it's going to be. And then when you go, this is all conversational, right, Matt? It's just it's just questions. I'm just asking you a question. So you're going to already be used to my style of proposing things to you or asking you questions, right, throughout the way that we do these things. Because I'm always going to be asking you if this is going to present a value to you, if this is something you're interested in, if this is something you'd like to do. So when we get to the pre-qual, it's not out of character to say, hey, awesome, can't wait to see you on Wednesday. See you and your wife on Wednesday when we come out and discuss your options for getting this home sold. Let me ask you this. When I see you, if you feel comfortable and confident that we can get this home sold for you, would you be prepared to list it with us? Just a question. It's just another question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer to that question tells me exactly what needs to happen next. And there's three things you're going to hear. Yes, maybe, no, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes and maybe, fantastic. I'm going to ask my other questions. No, interesting. What am I going to do?
Pre-qualify. You want to ask questions to figure out what the condition or the objection is, to where they're already not planning on to list you, even if they are comfortable and love you and love what you have to say. So there's something else.
I'm going to chase the no.
Right.
Okay.
Really good. I was listening to you when I wasn't looking at the screen because I wanted to see how it made me feel over the phone, and I didn't feel sold.
Show me on the doll.
Show me.
I don't.
Bad joke.
That,
but
that was awesome, man.
You're not following that? You didn't get that?
Oh.
I don't have.
All right, I'll explain it to Greg afterwards. Okay. So first of all, let me throw out Rob's comment. He says, "I forgot who said it on the show, but somebody said, I love the idea of a 2-step listing appointment. Step 1, you build rapport. Step 2, you preview my listing."
Wasn't
That's
that
the only
Michael
thing.
Hellickson?
I don't. Maybe it might have been Hellickson. That does sound like
Hellickson.
something he'd say.
Yeah, I think that was. Hellickson.
He would definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would say that.
Yeah, he would say that. Okay, so let's get into let's go maybe a different direction on the. Let's shift over to like buyer leads for a second. So when you're going for an appointment in that world, what's the difference? I mean, granted the skeleton of the call is essentially going to be the same, but give me kind of the way that you teach people to go for a first meeting when it's a buyer lead versus a seller lead.
Okay, so ideally, when you're trying to get an appointment, a face-to-face with a buyer, presumably you're trying to do a buyer consult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they want to see a house, that's easy. You want to see a house? I'm going to meet you at the house. I'm going to show you the house. Great.
Right.
The struggle is getting the buyer consultation.
Well, and that's what an ISA is doing, right? They're not trying to just hook up the agent with a random showing, right? So if you're managing an ISA team that's calling on buyer leads, what is the goal of those ISAs? That's usually to hand over someone that's ready to meet with them for a consult, not to show a house, right?
Well, all in war, things get messy in war, right? So
Okay.
some leads that you get on the phone. Yeah, some leads that you get on the phone, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I would like to go see that house. Or you get them on the phone by saying, hey, I saw you looked at this house online and, on our website, and when you want to go see these and that kind of stuff, right? So you can come from different premises. Virtually no one ever calls up and says, oh, I'd love to sit with a salesperson so they can tell me how the buying process goes. That would actually that'd be first-time buyers sometimes, right? Occasionally. Yeah. So your ISA, what they're trying to do is trying to get that face-to-face buyer consult, which can be really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Preferably, the best thing is if the team or the agent has some kind of buyer advantage program, right? To have some kind of things that they can offer this person, a package, right? Here's here's tangible things that we will give you, sign you up for, give you access to, give you rebates on if you join our club. That's the ideal. I would say only 10% of the teams out there actually have that. Yeah. So let's just say that we're in the vacuum of that. And now I just have to convince a buyer to come and talk to me because I'm likable. Right. Mm-hmm. So when they're doing that, if you're working with somebody who hasn't already bought and sold homes before or hasn't done it in a long time, it's much easier to get that appointment. Right. It's, hey, let's sit down in the office. We can discuss, exactly what you're looking for. We can make sure that you're on pace with your numbers and you know where everything's at, right? We can really educate you on that. And then I can spend my time actively looking for homes for you just to leverage your time because you're a busy person, right? Get them to say yes. Yeah, I'm busy. Great. So leverage would probably be good for you. Let's spend 15 minutes together in my office. We'll run through this real quick and then you'll be on your way and we'll be out there hunting for the perfect home for you. And they say, yes. Okay, great. We're going to set it up. And then usually what we do is we say, great, we can't wait to see you. We're so excited to learn about your home buying process and really help you through it and be a strategic partner for you. And, when we sit down, if things feel comfortable, right, if you feel comfortable and it seems like we can work together really well, we'll be willing to make a commitment to you and we'll just ask for you to make a commitment to us. How does that sound?
Fair.
So we're pre-framing them to put a buyer-broker relationship agreement in front of them when they come in to see us.
Yeah.
Dale, have you read Orrin Clef's book? It talks all about framing. Matt,
No.
Matt, what's the name of that one?
I don't know. I actually don't know that book. Orrin Clef?
Yeah.
I know the name, but
hold on. Let me. I have it right here. I have it on my Audible, Matt. Which he always. I'll find it here in a second. Huh?
Sounds like I should get it.
Pitch anything?
Yeah, pitch anything with Orrin Clef. He talks about how to frame, reframe, and collapse frames, and restructure frames about your conversations that you're having.
Beautiful.
Great book. I mean, it's dense. I mean, you got to read it a couple times. You're like, what the fuck did you just talk about? What the freaking frame? Oh, that's what it is. But it's subconsciously you do it all the time. You have a big frame with a small frame. You can collapse a frame, bring them into your frame. Go read it. It's actually really good.
Do you want to hear something crazy? I actually gave that as a Christmas gift to a couple of people, and I've never read it. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Here's a book. I'll just give this away to a couple as a Christmas gift. Yeah.
Just sign it. To Matt. Hope you enjoy it. I loved it. Dale.
That's right.
So full of it. Yeah. All right, so I just made a note. Go read the book you bought for everybody.
That's right.
Yeah. Go read that one, and then go read Play Bigger by Christopher Lochhead.
Mm-hmm.
That will teach you how to become a category king. So as soon as you don't learn how to create the frames around you, and then you can become a category king, not a me too, but a category king, you'll dominate in your marketplaces, guys, because you'll find ways to do it. Matt is actually really good friends with Chris. I'm a buddy with Chris Lochhead. He's a cool ass dude, man.
Nice. That's awesome.
So Dale, I love what you said about having like the package. Like if you're going to get somebody into an appointment, and I think agents lose sight of this, definitely on the buying side, because nobody seems to have any buyer package. If they have any package at all, it's for sellers, and even that's probably less than 10% of teams, and less than 1% of agents have any sort of like seller package. Yeah. And I think that's where I think marketing. Like the job of marketing is to make sales superfluous, right? So you can have excellent sales skills, and somebody can come along that has a better package. What they really have is a better big idea than you do to sell, and so they have to there's less skill involved. They may be a less skilled salesperson, but if they have a better big idea, as long as they can spit it out, they have a greater chance of getting the appointment. And so that's what I want to encourage everybody that there's a couple different ways to attack it, and you can attack it at the same time. But you definitely want to have a better carrot. If you want to get an appointment with somebody, it's spend time thinking about what's my carrot on the end of the stick for them to meet with me. And if it's that, like Dale said, I'm likable, great. You're going to appeal to what? 10, 20% of the people that you talk to, maybe, like has that natural rapport. What about the other 80%?
If you're just likable, who else has that quality?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, nobody's as likable as I am, clearly. But, I mean, I pity the rest of the human race because I'm so likable.
But the answer is every other agent, right?
Yes.
Every other beautiful faced agent out there is likable.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's a few that I can think of that are not.
I know, Greg. there's a particular person that's stalking Greg and leaving him hilarious messages that we actually played on the show. That awesome. Maybe he's not so likable, but yeah, it's you're competing against, and you're competing on the same playing field as everybody else.
Right.
Why would you do that? So put some time into thinking what your big carrot on the end of the stick is, because if you can combine the two things, if you have a better big idea than the agents you're competing against, and you have better skills, man, you're going to get an absurd number of appointments. It comes easy.
Yeah, mm-hmm. This is one of the exercises I do with clients when they're saying, well, we're having trouble setting buyer consultation appointments. And I say, okay, great. So I'm the consumer, I'm the buyer. What's my benefit to meeting with you?
Yep.
What is my benefit to meeting with you? Benefit 1, benefit 2, benefit 3. They can't articulate that, and all of a sudden the light bulb goes off. They're like, oh yeah, no wonder. I need to have more benefits.
Yeah. I mean, you have to build an irresistible offer for them.
And guys, if you don't know where to go onto Pinterest and Google it. You'll get all kinds of sheets. Advantages to working with an agent to buy a home. There will be lists, there'll be sheets, there'll be articles about this stuff. You can take that information, rip it out, make your own sheet, what resonates best with you, and then you'll be ready and armed to have those conversations with buyers and with sellers.
Right. And I'll give you an example. One of my clients, I was coaching them, and so the sales team was like, "Oh, we don't really have anything to tell people. What do we tell them?" I speak to management, and I'm like, "What do you guys do for your buyers?" And they're like, "Bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, all these things. Right? We do all these things. Do all these things. We offer all these things. We all these things." And I'm like, "Your sales staff doesn't know that. They can't articulate that. Put it together in a package." Call it something. Call it your fantastic, amazing buyer ride, and tell your agents how to sell it.
Yep, 100%.
The simplicity of it. We always joke about it. We always say the business is simple, but it's not easy. You just made an perfect example of that. I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy. You guys just make a freaking checklist. Make it sexy. I mean, you're the candy bar. You got to put a sexy wrapper around it. Okay.
There you go.
Right. All right. So a couple last questions, Dale. So this is an interesting problem or a challenge, I should say, that like the ISA team that we coach faces, and I'm curious if you've run across it, and I'm sure agents feel this way, although they may not be putting themselves in such an extreme environment. And I'll explain what I mean. So the ISA team that we coach has a dialer system that can throw them almost any kind of lead that's been thrown into their system, meaning they could be calling for different agents, one right after the other. On top of that, they could be calling a buyer lead, then a seller lead, then a buyer lead, then 2 seller leads in a row, then an expired lead, right? Then a home value lead, then FSBO, then whatever. So, and they really don't know until it just pops up on the screen and the person answers the phone. So obviously there's a pretty high level of difficulty. And with an ISA team, these people are not experienced agents, right? They've never sold real estate before. So what would your approach be to coaching that type of thing, where they really have to have a very high, like, rapid response, the ability to improvise very quickly and adjust to different situations on the fly?
Are we in the trust tree and you guys aren't going to be mad at me for anything I say?
We're on the trust tree.
That is a horrible way to do it. Have them just calling whatever? What the hell is that? That's like Krav Maga, right? You put a blindfold on their head and you're like, you're going to get attacked by one of 7 people at any given moment, right? That's what you're doing.
Wait a minute. Is that what Krav Maga? I got to remind myself to cancel that Krav Maga class.
Yeah, this is like, I'm going to teach you like tactical getting your ass kicked in the street stuff, right? Yeah, I would definitely, I think that personally if I were running it, I would make sure that they got some consistency. So I'm calling expireds, I'm calling home values, I'm calling whatever, and I know that before I get on that call with some degree of time to be able to do that. Because here's the thing. Every single one of those different buckets, and Greg, you can attest to this, the person on the other end of that phone is in a different head space, right? And one of the critical things that your ISAs need to know is, what is the headspace, the unique headspace of each lead type? Because that lead type is going to be in some different area of the sales funnel at any given moment, with a different set of experiences, right? A home valuation lead that hasn't been burned by a shitty agent yet is going to be way different from an expired lead who has.
Yep.
I think it's also for your mental mindset as the agent doing the calls, or the ISA doing the calls. You know what you're going to come up against. So you already mentally are in that headspace, like you were talking about, going, okay, these are expires today. Tomorrow's FSBOs. The next day is, circle prospecting, whatever the scenario is. But strangely enough, like, they're crushing it. They're getting
awesome,
huge amount of appointments. It's working for them. But when Matt and I first heard about it, we're like, what?
Yeah,
why?
Yeah.
But the girls are just making it happen and just making it rain. So
they're not a good job,
you girls.
But we've had to. So one of the things that we've coached them on is we simplified and stripped it down a little bit so that they treat FSBO and expired leads. Just the very front part of the call is a little bit different, but then we try to get them into a home value kind of conversation as quickly as possible, so it gets them back in their comfort zone. So the general layout of the call, they get into their comfort zone as quickly as possible. I mean, because how do you compensate for that level of variety otherwise than simplifying and stripping it down? So anyway, Yeah, it is an interesting problem, but I know agents that probably feel like they can be overwhelmed. But unless you've actually made that, like sat in front of a dialer and had any kind of real estate scenario thrown at you, most agents have not experienced that.
No.
Because we usually go from our one thing to another, and that's the way it should be done.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably like one of those tennis ball throwers when you're practicing, sort of like turned on high and 3 of them pointed at you at the same time. Like, oh shit!
So basically, somebody's going to get kicked in the nuts. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, waiting for it. Kicked in the ovaries. Let's be politically correct here.
Oh my God, that's funny. All right. So Dale, what do you recommend for ISAs, especially people that haven't been in real estate before? Like, what's your do you recommend any like pre-jumping on the phone routines for them to get themselves in the right headspace?
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody, if you haven't read The Miracle Morning, you got to do it, right? You just got to read that. It is something that in order to get your day started right, like your success in any endeavor doesn't start just before you do whatever it is you're doing. It really kind of starts with the way that you direct your day. So I'd say that ahead of time. Then before they get onto the phone, know who you're going to be calling, have all your leads ready and everything, do some role play with somebody, knock the dust off, knock the rust off before you actually practice in a live fire situation. Me personally, whenever I'm going to do something stressful, I like to actually meditate for a few minutes before I get started, just to clear myself, and then get prepared to do whatever I'm going to do, like get on this call with you guys.
There's a lot of meditation involved. I'm saying like a 2-to-1 scenario for every hour you spend with us requires 2 hours of meditation to prep.
I'm wasted for the next week now. I have to take off.
You just burnt. I can't mentally. I'm collapsed. I gotta rebuild. No, I do the same thing. I mean, Dale. I mean, the meditation prior to doing anything. I mean, they talk about that in what TED Talk was that? With that the chick, the professor. But she talks about Amy Cuddy, yeah. When you do the Superman, the vertical view of your arms, or you lean back and you're the boss, put your arms behind your head and your feet up on the desk, hold that for 2 minutes. You psychologically will step more powerfully into the next meeting that you're going to do, and you're going to own your space with it. And I made Midori. I made her pick, like, when her first month with us. I'm like, you pick a power pose. Right now, your energy sucks. So she picked the power pose of boss. Yeah, here's a power pose for you, motherfucker.
Yeah, there's my power pose. Would you like a double? Would you care for a double, sir?
Oh, well, yes. But I made her, she did the boss. She held it for 2 minutes. She complained about it. She was getting no leads. She was getting her butt kicked. She got on the phone. Bam. First call. Listing appointment.
She bossed it.
She bossed it up.
She bossed it.
Nice.
No.
Oh, my God. All right.
The energy is a really good thing.
Yeah, it is. I was talking to that gal I was talking to and setting her up for an appointment right before we jumped on. She coaches celebrities and high-level executives and all kinds of stuff on how to go out and give a killer speech or a presentation, usually off of a teleprompter. And that was one of the things that she said was, it's different for everybody, but you want to find a psychological trigger that uses your own, one primary sense, whether it's smell, whether it's taste, sight, sound, whatever it is, but look in your past to where you can find an experience that you can recall through your senses to get you grounded and centered before you do something like that, which I thought was really, really good. So there's no one size fits all. It kind of depends on what your triggers are and what your dominant sense is and all that stuff, but we can all find something. I've been thinking about that for a while. Finding that thing that takes you back to a positive state and being able to then find an anchor that you can use to trigger it. So, Greg, we've talked about Mark Divine's book, Unbeatable Mind, right? So, like when I meditated a lot, I would do the box breathing, and I ingrained that even now I can still do the box breathing, and it takes me back to that meditation, even though I don't meditate so much anymore. Just the act of box breathing almost puts you back in that headspace. But you have to, if you don't already have an experience like that, it takes you a while to create it through repetition to create something that you can tap into later.
But if you don't have something now, guys, go start now. There's no time like the present. The next decision you make is going to define the future you, one way or the other. So if you want to get your shit straight, dude, go read the book, Unbeatable Mind, do the box breathing, and start it. If that's not you, go look at Wim Hof. Take a look at some of his breathing techniques. If you want to do energy release, go take a look at a guy named Brad Yates on YouTube. Do, meridian tapping, do something to change your state. And like I do tappings every morning. I do having an amazing day and allowing more money into your life. And every day I do it, I mean, epically awesome things happen in my life. It's unexplainable, but it's also mindset. Like Dale, when your guys are getting on the phones, are they going into it defeated, or are they going into it, already with a success mindset? Like, I'm going to make today my bitch. I'm going to crush it on the phones. I already told that. I told that to the lady at the
we
coffee
need to come
machine.
up with a meditation app. That's Make Today Your Bitch with Greg McDaniel.
No, I told that to a lady at the coffee machine. She's like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going to make today my bitch." As I walked away, she's like, "Don't get him."
Oh, that's good, because otherwise she could have been like, "Fuck, I get $7 an hour for this." God.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, and Greg didn't leave me a tip either. Cheap bastard. All right, Dale. So remind people how they can get in touch with you, because we're about it. We have to stop soon.
Oh, okay, sounds good. Yeah, so they can reach me at dale@smartinsidesales.com.
Yeah, that is a very logical and easy to remember email.
There we go. I like to be logical. I want to give one other piece about the mindset for ISAs. This is something that I teach my ISAs, an additional thing that can help them. Okay. And it's something I used to use when I was a monkey grinder on the – oh, I'm sorry, Greg.
Hey!
So,
that was good.
When I was doing it, right, is in between every single call, I would have power statements for myself, because you can either have negative statements or you can have positive ones, right? And when the phone is ringing and I'm waiting for somebody to pick up, I'm saying to myself, this is the call, or I'm saying they're waiting for my call. These people are waiting for me. These people need my help. I just repeat that mantra in my head so that there's no opportunity for me to feel the opposite of that, right? So I just program the positive that I want when you have that in between time.
I love that. My dad did the same thing when he was door knocking in the 70s in Colorado. He knew nobody out there in the snow with his galoshes, and he said the same type of thing. He would say, everybody likes me, they just don't know me, or I'm here to cure cancer. And that's what if you ever meet my dad, he's like the most happiest go lucky dude ever. He's like, "Hey, what's up? Let's kick it. You're my friend. I don't know you, but I like you."
That's awesome.
But your mindset is, and I found myself, Dale, doing this exact same thing. In between calls, like sometimes if I, been a little bit, got a little rusty on the calls because I waited like a week or so to do them or whatever, I'm fear-based myself. I'm fear-based, going, "Oh my God, please don't yell. Please don't yell. Please don't yell. Oh, fuck, they yelled at me." But, instead of, I'm shifting it, dude. They yelled at me again. They treated me like that. There's more Matts in the world.
They treated me like Matt?
Yeah. They treat me like Matt treats me. But I'm going to do the positive thing. Like, they're my friends. They're waiting for me. They can't wait to talk to me. I'm bringing value. I can help.
Yep.
They need me.
Yeah. I do that before calls, like high stakes booking calls with, like high level people for podcasts and stuff like that. Cause you never know how they're going to go. Sometimes they go not so well. Sometimes they're not super enthusiastic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even if they've agreed to the phone call, I mean, we've all been in those situations where you think it's going to be a warm call and you get on the phone, it's just cold as ice.
Crap.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I do that too. In fact, I was doing that this morning when I was going through and like visualizing the day. I was like, okay, that's going to be an amazing call. That's going to be like, the call with the gal from San Diego Expo, like she's going to like want us to come do all sorts of events. And of course she did. And then like the call with the gal who I hopped on with before I jumped onto the podcast, that call went amazingly well. And I was telling myself like, oh yeah, like this is going to be like just looking at everything on my calendar going, this is going to go really well. And here's why. And then that's going to go well. And here's why. And just giving myself not just the emotional hype up, but also the logical reasons why I think it's going to go that direction.
Interesting.
That's great.
I do.
That's one of the things I've been working with Pasquale about. He talks about that in the switch, Greg, about visualizing your day in advance and visualize it going the way you want it to go and seeing yourself do the work in advance and it turning out the way you want to do it. Like athletes do that all the time. We don't do that so much in business. And I'm trying to get better at that.
No,
I need to do that too.
Yeah, there's a thing I do, and I did it this morning. I did not want to get up and go to the gym this morning at all. Zero desire. But I told myself, I say this to myself 3 times, and I got up and I popped up and I was like, woo, let's go. I said, today's going to be an amazing day. Then I said it again, today is going to be an amazing day. And then I say it one more time with, today is going to be an amazing day. Bam, feet touch ground.
And then he had the best Zumba workout ever.
Yes.
Nice.
It was invigorating.
You got to get a video of that. That would go viral.
Yeah. My dad
I have
bod
another-
going in all the wrong places when I'm jumping. That'd be horrible.
All right, guys.
Wait. I want to give a mantra that I have. The mantra I use to get my ass out of bed when I don't want to go to the gym, it's do it ugly. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Do
that's
it ugly.
great.
Just
That is
effing
awesome.
do it. Do it as ugly as you can. I don't give a shit. Do it very poorly.
Oh,
Yes.
Do it
That
in
is
an
a great
embarrassing
mantra.
way.
I love that. Do it ugly.
I wrote it down. Do it ugly. I'm so saying that. Do it ugly.
Oh, that's funny. Love it.
All right,
guys.
Now
So,
you can shut us down.
okay, good. Again, email and then the website to learn more about what you do.
Yes. Dale at smartinsidesales.com and www. Does anybody say that anymore?
No.
Smartinsidesales.com.
You're showing
That's
your
where
age,
you can
buddy.
find. Oh man. So,
I know.
The World
This-
Wide Web.
You know what? You know how long it took me to get one of these things?
I'm not going to ask. That is awesome.
I'm on my second smartphone, just for
Nice.
reference. Okay, good. So for us, getnowbusiness.com, that's the latest live course. First date is Tuesday, August the 8th. That is our first class in that particular run, so you guys can sign up for that right now, learn exactly how to put commissions in your pocket in 90 days or less, working with the people and strategically targeting the people that have a connection and a need for exactly what you do, and then learning how to convert those conversations with them into actual deals. So that is what that is all about. You can connect with us at reuncensored.com. That's the general website that we are getting ready to revamp that. So you'll see a brand new, shiny new website coming soon to that particular location. Greg, social media.
Guys, follow us like the stalkers that we love. Just don't jump out at Matt. He might hit you if you jump out of his bushes. But I can't tell you where he lives because I don't even know where he lives. He won't even give me his address. But seriously, guys, on Facebook, go follow us. Please don't friend us. I literally cannot accept another friendship. I have almost 1,000 waiting friends. Follow me, though, and you can watch my live cold calls that I do. And Dale, I'd love to get you on that sometime. We can do cold calls, and you can shake me live on air and make me look silly.
I'm going to spank you like a newborn. No, that's horrible. Nobody spanks their newborn. That's terrible.
Well, the doctor, if they're not crying. I think
The
that's
doctor. Make
Yes.
sure you're alive.
exactly.
Oh my God, that is too funny. But yeah, we'll get him on the live show. You guys will watch me do cold calls. He'll critique me after every call. You guys will learn a metric fuck ton of good content. And then guys, sign up for the classes. They're there. You get really in-depth stuff, learning and education. Matt and I do this because we love you. We want to see you guys succeed at an epic level. That's why we're blessed to have amazing guests like Dale come on and just douse you with knowledge. And so we hope to have him back. We hope to see you guys back. If you didn't catch the entire thing, get your bitch ass back to the beginning and watch it all over again because you missed some good shit. All right, guys. We love you. Peace out, ninjas. We gone.
Bye.